The first time Amina saw it happen, she told herself she was imagining things. The baby was only a few hours old, wrapped tight in a faded blue cloth. The nurse took him from his mother's arms, whispered something, and walked out of the room. The mother, weak from childbirth, just lay there staring at the ceiling, eyes empty. 2 days later, Amina asked where the baby was. The nurse gave her a sharp look. The mother said she didn't want him, but Amina had seen the mother holding him, kissing his tiny fingers. The woman had wanted her baby. Amina had only been working at the hospital for a few months. It was a small place, part hospital, part orphanage, run by a rich woman everyone called Madam. She was always smiling, always generous. She funded school fees for poor families, donated to churches, and attended community meetings. Everyone trusted her, but something felt off. Too many babies disappeared. Too many mothers were told their babies didn't make it. But there were never funerals, never any bodies. One day, a woman named Mama Kemi arrived in the hospital, her face puffy from crying. She had given birth a week before, but the nurses told her the baby had died. "I want to see my child's grave," she said. The nurse at the reception barely looked up. The hospital handled everything. Mama Kemi shook her head. "I didn't give permission for that. It was necessary." Amina watched the conversation from a distance, her hands cold. The nurse's voice was firm, but she was avoiding eye contact. Mama Kemi refused to leave. She sat outside the hospital gate for hours, crying, asking questions. The next day, she was gone. Amina asked around, but no one knew where she went. Amina started paying attention. She noticed how often the records changed. Babies marked as deceased had no burial records. Some newborns were taken to the orphanage section, but they never stayed long. One night, Amina was doing inventory when she heard whispers near the back entrance. She peeked through the window and saw Nurse Bintu speaking to a man in a suit. He handed her an envelope. She handed him a small bundle, wrapped in a blue cloth. Amina's stomach twisted. She knew that cloth. She had wrapped that baby herself. The man tucked the bundle into a black car, and the vehicle disappeared into the night. The next day, Amina found the courage to ask one of the older nurses, "Where do the orphanage babies go?" The woman didn't meet her eyes. "Adoption? But we never see the adoptive parents. There's no paperwork." The nurse sighed. "Don't ask too many questions, Amina. You're still new here." That night, Amina followed Nurse Bintu. She walked through the quiet halls, past the orphanage section, and into a room Amina had never entered before. Inside, she heard voices, a man's voice, money being counted. Amina pressed her ear to the door. "She won't remember anything," a woman said. "She was weak after delivery," another voice agreed. "Told us to take care of the child." Lies. Amina peeked through the half-open door. A well-dressed couple stood there, the woman holding a baby. The baby, the mother's baby. Amina backed away, heart pounding. She wanted to scream, to call the police, to do something. But she knew the truth now. This wasn't a hospital, wasn't an orphanage. It was a business, a baby factory. Not every mother accepted the lies. There was Ife, a young woman who came with her brothers. She had given birth in the hospital, and they told her the baby had died. But Ife swore she heard the child cry. Her brothers demanded to see the death certificate. The hospital refused. The family caused a scene, attracting people from the community. Madam came out, smiling, promising to look into the matter. 3 days later, Ife's family received a visit from men in dark suits. They were warned to stop asking questions. Ife left town the next morning. Then there was Grace. Her baby was too weak to survive, but Grace saw a nurse carrying the child later that night, still breathing. She started screaming, refusing to leave without her baby. They sedated her. The next morning, she was gone. Amina asked the nurse what happened. She was transferred to another hospital, the nurse said. Amina knew that was a lie. Amina couldn't sleep anymore. She saw their faces, the crying mothers, the stolen babies. She couldn't keep quiet. One night, she found the hospital's logbook and took photos of the records. Then she made her decision. She was going to expose them, even if it cost her everything. Amina knew she had to be careful. She had seen what happened to people who asked too many questions, like Ify, like Grace. If she made the wrong move, she could disappear too. For the next few days, she acted normal. She still cleaned the rooms, assisted the nurses, and kept her head down. But at night, she gathered more evidence. She took pictures of the logbook, noting the missing babies. She recorded conversations when the nurses whispered about clients. She even found a storage room where they kept fake medical reports, documents claiming babies had died when they were actually sold. She was ready. But she needed help. Amina reached out to Seyi, a journalist known for exposing corruption. She had heard about him on the radio. He wasn't afraid to challenge powerful people. She messaged him anonymously, attaching some of the documents she had gathered. I work at a hospital. They are selling babies. Please help. Seyi responded within an hour. Where are you? We need to meet. Fear gripped Amina's chest. Meeting a journalist was dangerous. If Madam found out, she wouldn't just lose her job. She could lose her life, but she couldn't turn back now. They agreed to meet at a small restaurant in town. Amina wore a scarf over her head, hands shaking, as she slid into the seats across from Seyi. He was quiet as she showed him the pictures, the fake documents, the recordings. Then he looked up, eyes serious. This is big, he said, but you're in danger. She already knew that. Seyi started investigating immediately. He tracked down women who had given birth at the hospital. Many were too scared to talk, but a few, like Mama Kemi, agreed to meet him in secret. I never saw my baby's body, she said. They told me she died, but I know she didn't. More mothers came forward, telling the same story. Meanwhile, Amina kept working. She noticed the hospital was expecting an important visitor, a special client, one of the wealthiest families in the city. That night, she followed the head nurse again. This time, she recorded everything on her phone. Inside the secret room, the rich couple stood with Madam. We want a baby boy, the woman said, holding a thick envelope of cash. Madam smiled. We have the perfect child for you. The nurse left and returned moments later with a newborn, wrapped in a faded blue cloth. Amina's stomach turned. She knew that baby. The mother had given birth 2 nights ago, crying tears of joy. She had held her son, kissed him, and now he was being sold like a product. Amina pressed record. The next morning, Seyi published the story online. Exposed. The hospital selling babies to the rich. The article spread fast. People were shocked, angry. Women who had lost their babies demanded answers. Community leaders stormed the hospital. By evening, the police arrived. Madame tried to deny everything, but Amina's recordings were undeniable. The fake documents, the missing records, there was too much evidence. They arrested Madam, Nurse Bintu, and several others. Amina watched as they were led away in handcuffs. For the first time in months, she breathed freely. The hospital shut down. Investigations continued. Many of the stolen babies had already been sent abroad, their real identities erased. But some, like the little boy from 2 nights ago, were found and returned to their mothers. Amina had to leave town for a while. It wasn't safe, but she had done what she came to do. She had stopped the factory. She had given those mothers the truth. Moral of the story: evil thrives in silence. When people ignore injustice or choose to look the other way, corruption continues. Amina could have stayed quiet, but by speaking up, she brought the truth to light. Power and reputation can be deceiving. Madam appeared kind and generous, but behind closed doors, she was selling babies. Not everyone who seems good has pure intentions. The truth always comes out. No matter how long evil goes unchecked, justice will find a way. Madam and her team thought they were untouchable, but in the end, their crimes were exposed. Courage can change lives. Amina risked everything to reveal the truth. It wasn't easy, but because of her bravery, many stolen children were reunited with their families. Question everything. If something feels wrong, it probably is. The mothers who fought back and refused to accept lies played a role in uncovering the truth. Blind trusts can be dangerous. We have come to the end of this story, guys. Please comment in the comment section what you've learned so far in this story. And if you are coming across my channel for the first time, please join us as we keep these timeless stories alive. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications bell so you never miss a new tale. Like, comment, and share this video. Thanks.